What if the greatest illusion in mythology is not that the gods are powerful, but that their power makes them right? Across countless stories, divine authority is often presented as absolute, unquestionable, and inherently justified. Yet when examined closely, the actions of the gods reveal something far more unsettling. They do not always act with wisdom, nor do they consistently embody fairness or balance. Instead, they behave in ways that feel strikingly human, driven by emotion, pride, desire, and sometimes even insecurity. And in those moments, the line between justice and dominance begins to blur, revealing a system where power does not necessarily align with what is right, but rather defines what is accepted as right. In Greek mythology, Zeus stands as the ultimate symbol of authority, the ruler of Olympus whose decisions shape the fate of both gods and mortals. Yet his actions are rarely guided by a consistent moral framework. His punishments can be disproportionate, his judgments influenced by personal motives, and his interventions often unpredictable. When Zeus enforces order, it is not always clear whether that order serves balance or simply reinforces his own position at the top of the hierarchy. This ambiguity is not presented as a flaw within the myth. It is normalized, woven into the structure of divine rule itself, where authority is not questioned because it cannot be challenged. This pattern becomes even more evident in the actions of Apollo, a god associated with knowledge, prophecy, and healing, yet equally capable of bringing destruction and suffering. Apollo's punishments are often precise, but not necessarily just in the human sense. Those who cross him, whether intentionally or not, can face consequences that far exceed their actions, not because the system demands balance, but because divine will operates independently of proportionality. What makes this particularly striking is that Apollo, a god of clarity and foresight, does not always act with restraint, suggesting that knowledge does not inherently produce fairness, and that understanding the future does not guarantee ethical action. When viewed together, these figures reveal a fundamental tension within mythology. The gods are not moral ideals, but embodiments of power. Their actions shape reality, but they are not bound by the same rules that govern those beneath them. This creates a dynamic in which justice is not an objective standard, but a narrative constructed after the fact, one that aligns with the outcomes determined by those in control. In this sense, mythology does not simply tell stories about gods. It reflects a deeper human recognition that systems of power often define their own legitimacy. This raises a question that extends beyond myth. If those with the greatest power are not inherently just, then where does justice come from? Is it something that exists independently, waiting to be discovered, or is it something that is continuously shaped by those who have the ability to enforce it? The stories of the gods do not provide a clear answer, but they do suggest that authority and morality are not naturally aligned. Instead, they exist in a state of tension where one can dominate without fully embodying the other. For humans, this tension creates both fear and fascination. The gods are worshipped not only because they are powerful, but because they are unpredictable. Their favor can elevate, their anger can destroy, and their decisions can redefine the boundaries of what is possible. Yet beneath that reverence lies an unspoken understanding. That power, even at its highest level, is not immune to flaw. And perhaps this is why these stories endure, because they do not present a perfect system, but a recognizable one, where authority is complex, where decisions are not always fair, and where the definition of justice remains uncertain. Ultimately, mythology does not claim that the gods are right. It shows that they are obeyed. And in that distinction lies a truth that extends far beyond the world of myth, suggesting that the relationship between power and justice is not fixed, but constantly negotiated, shaped by perspective, and often decided by those who hold the ability to act, rather than those who seek what is fair.